Today we're talking about chickens. There are probably a couple hundred different breeds of chickens, and today we just wanted to go over some of the breeds that we've raised and kind of some of the better traits that we've seen and you know, some of the issues we've had with certain breeds. There are a few different types of chickens. There's meat birds, you know, that you'd raise up to process and have meat. And then there's egg layers of all different types and shapes and colors and all that stuff. And then there's dual purpose birds. So we're mainly going to be talking about chickens, but we have raised other birds for meat and such. So we'll kind of touch base on those a little bit. But I think first we're going to go through all of the egg layers we've raised. Sorry, my cat's going a little crazy. She doesn't normally hang out with us outside, or we don't normally hang out with her outside, but so we'll go through the egg layers first, and then we'll touch base on the meat birds and some dual purpose birds, some of the other birds that we've raised over the years, and then kind of at the end we'll kind of give our top picks for the different types of birds.
Yeah, if you want to know the one bird that we would choose if we could only have one type of chicken, we'll let you know at the end. So. All
right, we're going to start with egg layers, and we're going to mainly touch on the breeds that we've actually raised on our farm. We have raised a number of breeds, and those are the ones we've had experience with, and there are dozens more, hundreds probably more, of different breeds that we haven't really had experience on, but we do have experience with some of the top breeds. We're going to go through this list in order of which we kind of have raised them. And I think the very first set of birds that we raised are black Cochins, and they are, you know, they're a hardier bird. They don't love the heat. They're not horrible. I mean, they did survive summers here in North Carolina, as well as some summers in Alabama. They were pretty good egg layers. They do a nice dark brown egg. They're the birds with the like fuzzy feet. They were actually really good birds. We actually really liked those.
Really good temperament too.
Yeah,
which is really nice for like our first flock.
Yeah, they're a good starting bird.
Mm-hmm. In addition to the black Cochins being part of our first flock, we also did like an ornamental layer collection. So it was kind of like a mixed bag of some birds. There were maybe just one Polish, maybe there were more. Plymouths were in there. I know there was like probably at least one other type of breed or something. But I think getting a sort of mixed collection was nice for the first round. You know, gives you kind of an idea of like what a Polish crested is like, which they're pretty small and they've got the poofs on top of their head. They're rather fragile. So some folks in the winter, you have to like cut their little bangs and stuff. So
yeah, they'll get like ice built up on their little poofs.
They're cute, but you know, wouldn't opt for them again.
They're a more fragile bird, and if you end up, you know, if things go south and you need to harvest them for meat, like a lot of the like those tinted egg layers and all those kind of things, they tend to be smaller birds, and they'll have there's not as much meat on their bones. So there's that. So in raising egg layers, you know, they're only like pretty productive egg layers for a few years, and then as they get to be a little bit older, they definitely slow down. And so with our black Cochins, they were kind of getting up to a ripe old ladybird age. So we ended up replacing them with the Cuckoo Marans, the Whiting True Blue, and then the Rhode Island Reds. We'll touch on the Rhode Island Reds in a little bit, but the Whiting's True Blue and the Cuckoo Marans, both those birds ended up not really wanting to stay in their area. We use an electric net, and it does a good job of keeping a lot of birds in, but These birds just would not stay in. They'd fly over. We'd try clipping their wings, and they'd still try to get out. And because they could not stay inside of their, protected area, unfortunately, a predator did get them. So even though we didn't raise the cuckoo Marans long enough for them to start laying, well, they did start laying, but because they weren't in their coop all the time, we'd have to find the eggs. It was kind of an Easter egg hunt every single morning. So the cuckoo Marans lay a dark brown egg. They're an extra large egg, and they do okay in the heat, and they do pretty good in the cold. I think they can be used as a dual-purpose breed. It's not the most common dual-purpose breed. And then the Whiting True Blues, they do a very light blue egg. They have pretty good egg production, large eggs, and they are both good in the heat and in the cold.
So yeah, we had the Whiting True Blues and the cuckoo Marans, and that I will cop to it that was basically, I really wanted the pretty eggs, since the Marans do those like cocoa brown eggs. Whiting True Blues, it's like the light blue. The olive eggers were like all sold out, so I didn't get those. But I definitely learned my lesson. If you're gonna get the pretty eggs, the birds they're heavy foragers. They just would not stay in their pens, which, fun fact, a lot of people don't know that chickens are actually jungle fowl. They have evolved to come from the jungle. So if you have some heavily wooded areas around you, foresty areas, they like to forage. They love the pine needle, natural mulchy floors and the trees. They will fly up into those trees. Again, we tried clipping their wings, but they were persistent. And so I learned my lesson. If you see a chicken breed that is a heavy forager, maybe you might want to steer clear.
So just recently we decided to, after the cuckoo Marans and the true Whitings or true blue Whitings, and the Rhode Island Reds after that catastrophe, we went with Red Stars. They are apparently very, very prolific egg layers. Ours just started laying eggs, I think just this week. So we're looking forward to seeing how they do. Jury's still out on them right now, but so far we're liking them. They've integrated with some newer chickens that we've added to the flock just fine, and yeah, we've been enjoying them so far. But next I want to talk about dual breeds. So we've got a few we have got a few dual breeds, dual purpose breeds over the years. Along with the cuckoo Marans and the Whiting True Blue, we got the Rhode Island Reds. Now they also succumbed to some predator pressure. It was partially our setup. They weren't getting out quite as much as the other two breeds, but unfortunately they did succumb to the predator pressure. But they lay a lot of eggs. They can get pretty big in a reasonable amount of time, as far as being a meat bird. So those chickens I probably would get again, even though we didn't have the best luck this last time. It just seemed like it was kind of more things that we would be able to prevent moving forward, as opposed to the birds just not really wanting to stay contained. We recently just got a few Buff Orpingtons from a friend. He had too many chickens and decided he wanted to give some away, and we took some. I think they're a little bit older, but they've been really great too. So they've been laying solidly for us. They got some meat on their bones too, if you need to go that way. So there are a few other dual purpose breeds, but I think those are like some of the top ones. All right, so next we're gonna move on to the meat birds that we've raised. And before we kind of jump into that, I just wanted to touch base that we have raised guinea fowl on our farm. And guinea fowl are great for two things. They're great at killing bugs, ticks. They love foraging through the fields and stuff. they're also really great at dying. They just have a knack for getting out at the wrong time, and sadly we did lose all of our guinea fowl over the course of, I think it was a year and a half. But we did love raising them. They are a loud bird. They are kind of like a guard bird. So when they do see something that's up, they will like make this pretty unique noise. Some people are very annoyed by guinea fowl, but we really loved them. They had a good personality, kind of goofy, kind of dumb birds, but they would just run around, and for a while they were hanging out with our chickens, and they stayed protected the longest that way. But they would also really try to get out and just run around the field. So you know, we might try those again at some point, but as of right now, we are guinea fowless. But yeah, as far as meat birds, the first flock of meat birds we got were the Murray's big red broilers. I think that's also like a red ranger. There's a few different names for the like red meat bird. So the big red broiler is a slightly slower growing meat bird. They grow out in about 12 weeks. They do get a little bit bigger than other meat breeds, and they do tend to resemble more of a natural chicken than other meat breeds. The other meat breed that we have raised is Cornish Cross. That's the kind of very fast growing meat breed. They grow out in 8 weeks. Because they grow so fast, they can have some issues with like legs, like heart issues. We haven't really had too much of an issue with that, but if you start getting well past 8 or 9 weeks, they can really start having some issues.
Or if you just have like a fast growing batch, which, hey, on the one hand is kind of great, but on the other, like, yeah, with the mobility, like leg issues, it's sometimes, yeah, it cannot be the most fun when you've got some heavy meat birds that can't move on their own.
Yeah, whereas the red rangers or the red broilers, they tend to grow up and act just like chickens. They're just a lot bigger, and they grow a lot faster than an egg layer chicken. We've raised both numerous times. We like both. Kind of depends what's in stock, or like if we really need to replenish some chicken, we'll probably get the Cornish Cross, just because they do raise out a whole 2 weeks earlier. Both of them
4 weeks earlier, right? Yeah. 8 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks earlier. So both of them process down pretty good when you're actually processing the birds. I don't think one's all that much harder than the other. Kind of in that same field of meat birds, we've also raised turkeys on our farm. We've raised both the bronze-breasted and the giant white turkeys. The giant white turkeys are kind of more equal to like a Cornish Cross of the turkey world. They do grow out fast, a little bit faster than like the bronze turkeys. They get bigger. They're not quite as Frankenstein looking as a Cornish Cross. You know, they do walk around normally. I have had issues with them having like a weird tendon issue in their legs, but both of those grow out fine. I will say that if you're not careful with the white turkeys, last year we did them and we grew them out to the normal, I think it's 24-week growing period, and we had some birds that were close to 40 pounds, which is too big in my opinion. One is we raise all of our animals on organic feed, and it's hard to find someone who wants to pay for that amount of feed that you've put into the animal. It's also very hard to cook a whole 40-pound turkey. They don't fit.
And cook.
Yeah, so they do take up a lot of space. Yeah, so those are the two turkey breeds that we're familiar with raising. There are, again, dozens of different turkeys you can raise. There's some that aren't really for meat, and they can kind of you can raise them for eggs. They're definitely not as plentiful in their egg production or as consistent, but I know people who do raise them for turkey eggs. So yeah, kind of wrapping up, every homestead has kind of different goals in mind and what they raise. Some want to raise just meat birds, some want to have a little egg production. Mostly our egg production is for self-use and, you know, maybe bartering with the neighbor here and there. We don't really plan on like selling our eggs. We'd rather put the effort into raising the meat birds, but we do definitely like having chickens around kind of year round. One is for eggs, and two is just for them to devour stuff, food scraps and whatnot. So you're gonna have to kind of figure out what you want to raise and, you know, do a little research and find the right bird for yourself. You know, a dual purpose bird, you know, kind of are the best of both worlds, so that might work. You want to tell them our number one pick for?
Number one pick, if we could just have one chicken on the farm, I think it would be the black Cochins. However, we just got those buff Orpingtons from a friend, as you said, and so it's only been like a couple weeks or something.
Yeah,
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And I feel like they're kind of giving the black Cochins a run for their money, because they're also like a good size. You can tell they've got some good meat on their bones, like the black Cochins, and their egg production is good, temperament is good. So it's a tie right now.
yeah. I have a feeling it'll probably be the buff Orpingtons kind of moving forward. I do want to try the Rhode Island Reds again. I've heard a lot of good things. Ours just didn't work out. If they don't work out again, then yeah, we'll probably cross those off the list entirely. If anybody has any of their favorite breeds that they want to kind of throw a shout out to, leave it in the comments, because we're always looking for, you know, trying new birds. We only have 2 breeds right now. All right, to wrap everything kind of up that we've talked about, just want to say thank you for watching. Hopefully there was something you could kind of take away from this video. And just wanted to wish you guys a good night.